Yo, what is going on, lads? So the time has finally come where Battlefield 5 has ended and the new era of Battlefield 2042 has begun. Over the last week, I told all you guys that I wasn't streaming and I had a lot of IRL stuff to do. And this video is basically it. I was very fortunate enough to get invited to one of these EA private events. And now this private event was 3 days long. On the first day, we got to play All Out Warfare. On the second day, we got to play Hazard Zone. And on the third day, we got to play Portal. Now, I will have a video coming out for the first 2 days, but I felt like the biggest thing out of this event was Portal mode. And I feel like that's like what most of the Battlefield players are excited for. Now, during this Portal event, we got to play a free-for-all mode where it was 1942 characters versus Bad Company 2 characters. We got to play 2 maps from 1942, 2 maps from Bad Company 2, and 2 maps from Battlefield 3. Now, at the start of the day, they dove us straight into VIP mode on Arica Harbor with the 1942 versus the Bad Company 2. And let me tell you, the nostalgia hit that I got from playing a Bad Company map felt so good. Even all the maps just throughout the day from the older Battlefields, I feel like they recreated them so well done, and I honestly couldn't fault them. Now, midway through the day, they showed us how to set up the rule section of Portal mode. Now, this is going to be quite confusing with a lot of people. I'm not going to bring too much attention to it in this video, but I will potentially bring out a video later down the track trying to explain how to do the rule set a little bit easier than what some people have shown. It is quite confusing. But what they showed us how to do is they put us into a free-for-all match, 24 players. They only gave us a rocket launcher, and they only gave us 1 rocket for it. Now, once you use that 1 rocket, you had to jump 5 times to reload. And that's just kind of the wacky shit that you can get up to with Portal. Now, I do want to point out that the servers that we got to play on, they were not full 64v64. I think the most we ended up getting to was maybe like 35v35 at one point. So these clips aren't exactly farm clips, high octane, fucking target switching clips. I was just trying to show off some of the ways that the guns work and the way the maps look for some of these clips. But we finally got onto playing the 1942 maps and then the BC2 maps on Rush, and God, that was such an adrenaline hit. And then we got to play BF3. So straight off the bat, what we noticed is that they had the old movement style from whatever generation Battlefield we were playing. So when we were playing Bad Company 2, you didn't have prone, and one of the biggest feature is that there was no sprint strafing. Now, the no prone thing I can get around. That's pretty easy. It's just like you know that there's like nobody camping at the back of the map prone or something like that. That's cool as fuck to me. The biggest thing was the no sprint straight. Now that took me a couple of minutes to get my head around. And before I jumped into this Portal match, I honestly didn't even think about the fact that BC2 didn't have it back in the day.
Menu, so I'm not sure where they've added it.
I will point out now that when we played 2042, there were a couple of nerfs made. So sliding got nerfed, the movement felt like it got nerfed a little bit slower, and also the gunplay was changed. They added recoil and they added spread to most weapons. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because this will just be a 2042 all-out warfare video that I'm going to do. But I wanted to mention that because when we were playing in the Portal mode,
yeah, I think
the gunplay felt amazing. They still had 2042 movement, but it didn't feel like it was nerfed. And no changes have been made to it. It was just kind of weird to play the all-out warfare mode in 2042, then come over to Portal and have a different feel to the movement and a different feel to the guns. In my opinion, they should keep it all updated. Just because you're playing the older matches compared to the newer matches, I don't want to see too much of like weapon gunplay different and movement different to what the original game 2042 has. Now, of course, there's going to be people who want to make those BC2 servers, those 1942 servers, those BF3 servers, and have the gunplay as they were back in the day and the movement as they were back in the day. But it's just my opinion that I think that they should all be the same around. That way, you're not going to 2042 and then going to a portal server and then basically just having to relearn all the basic stuff. I personally see portal mode as an opportunity to play with older weapons and older maps, but with the new style of what Battlefield's becoming.
The M1 Garand is fucking like.
Now, Battlefield hasn't really seen a competitive scene since BF4. What this portal mode is going to allow is all these communities to come together, change all the rule sets, change the way the maps are, change the size of the playable zones in the maps. And that's going to create the competitive environment. I definitely see a competitive scene coming to 2042 Portal, and I do definitely see it taking off. I honestly can't wait to see what some of these coordinators come up with in terms of styling of the maps, styling of the rules, what weapons are going to be using, what's allowed, what's not allowed. I also hope that EA looks at what can be made from this portal mode, and then they start backing Battlefield's competitive players. Now, lastly, I'm going to leave you guys with probably the biggest question that I've been getting asked lately is, how is the performance in 2042? Now, the performance in 2042 with the beta, it seemed to be okay. I was sitting at around 140 frames, 150 frames in times, but it didn't feel like I was getting the 140 frames. It still felt like 60 frames. Now, they did tell us that they made some optimization tweaks and that the game is a little bit better optimized. And now it is a little bit better optimized. But when we were playing the bigger maps and we actually had a round of, I think we got like one at 50v50 at one point, I was still only getting about the 140, 150 frames.
Bro, there's no
and it
spread
still
on
felt off. It still felt like I was only sitting on 60 frames. I'm really hoping that they can button up these little issues within the first couple of weeks of the game's launch. Now, again, I just want to give a massive shout out to EA and DICE for allowing me to participate in this event and give them my feedback of what I think about the game. I've been around Battlefield for a while now. I've been streaming it non-stop for the last 2.5 years now. And I really want to make this my prime content. I don't have any interest in other games. Battlefield is it. So being able to participate in this event was a massive surprise and an honest joy to be able to do it. We've got 2042's launch today, basically. So I really hope that you guys are enjoying what I'm going to be bringing out. And just get ready for a lot of 2042 content. I'll see you boys in the next one.
Couple of boys watching it, is there? Oh, I've traded with like 6 people this round. Yeah, mine's like...
Ich hab einen erwischt! Ich muss nachladen, Leute!